again to Two Guys Catching Up on Football. I'm Otis Goodwin.
And I'm Jerry Stewart.
So, Jerry, I must apologize. So we didn't have a show last week. We had a few technical difficulties. Jerry was getting his computer repaired, and I was on the road doing some stuff. We tried to do it in the hotel, and it just was horrible. So we were like, "Yeah, no, we
Didn't
can't put
work.
that out." Yeah, so we're going to go a little bit longer today because there's been a whole lot of stuff happen during the time we haven't been here, and probably first and foremost is Harbaugh getting suspended.
Oh man. Well, of course he doesn't know anything about it, but my we'll see. Their big game is next weekend. We'll see what happens with that. I actually would think Ohio State wins. My other thing with Harbaugh is don't be shocked if he's in Chicago coaching the Bears next year.
Which
He's
I
probably
would be
knows that.
happy with. I would be happy with because I think if Chicago hired him to coach the Bears, I think Justin Fields is good enough to play in the NFL. He just needs a good head coach. Eberflus is like, eh.
No, yeah, that's but we were talking earlier about some people are not supposed to be a head coach. Eberflus is one of them. Yeah,
Yeah, he is not a head coaching material. I mean, he just is not. And so you know with him, oh, I'm trying to get rid of something here. Yeah, because I wanna say I brought up the standings and stuff. Um,
okay.
as far as who will probably be looking for a new head coach next year,
Hmm.
and it's possible the Patriots. That's
Oh yeah,
possible.
I
The
think that one is
Chargers.
going to happen.
The Chargers. If Brandon Staley is not fired tonight,
Yeah,
then the ownership and the general manager doesn't have any idea of how to run a football team. So
yeah,
Brandon
that's definitely
Staley,
another one.
yeah, Brandon Staley. The rest, I don't think the
Now
Titans.
here,
The
I'm going to
Titans
throw
have
out kind of. How about a wild card one here? Sean McVay.
no, no.
No.
I
Okay.
don't. I don't. I
I'm
don't. I
asking.
don't think so. I don't think he would. Um, I think that Super Bowl gives him a little bit of leeway. Now,
Yeah.
if they have the same thing happen next year that they went through, then that's altogether different. Um,
True.
the Commanders, the
Oh, I
Commanders,
think Ron Rivera, local guy from Monterey Bay area,
yeah,
nice man. I
yeah.
think he's gone.
I think he is too,
Yeah.
and I think the reason he had such a problem with Bieniemy to begin with was I think after he hired him, he saw his replacement walk in the door, and he
Probably.
probably wasn't particularly
Yeah.
happy
Yeah.
about that. And him
You
making
know, just a note on them is right. They've got their new owner.
right,
They had a what I would say a bad loss today. They lost to the Giants.
yeah, yeah.
So I imagine, yes, that the new ownership will say it's time. Yeah.
And the new ownership has Magic Johnson as part of it.
Yeah.
I would not put it past the fact that Rivera saw who the ownership was, who came in as his offensive coordinator. Now he hired him, but after he did it, I think he had buyer's remorse and probably went, no, I think I
He
just hired my replacement.
Yeah.
And so,
Rivera is somebody. If I was a team, I don't know if I would want him as a head coach, but a team that needs a defensive coordinator, I would call him immediately. Yeah.
yeah, oh yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
most
Yeah.
definitely. And
Yeah.
and then he may just want to just be out of football for a year.
Yeah.
And
That's true
so,
too.
yeah, it's possible. So far, there's like four teams we've talked about. I don't think it'll be the Rams. I think they're going to give him another shot.
Mm.
Eberflus for the Bears, and maybe Arthur Smith for the Falcons.
Oh, for the yeah.
Maybe, but that depends on where they fall in the draft order.
Yeah.
Because while I am a Desmond Ritter fan, he hasn't done enough to
Yeah.
translate to wins
Right.
that I would not be looking at getting one of the quarterbacks that's coming out. And
I already saw people talking about, oh, Caleb Williams is going here and there, and who's the other guy? There's another quarterback coming out.
Drake May.
Maybe that's it. Yeah, where
Yeah.
people are already, the teams that need a quarterback are already lining up. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
and I don't doubt that. I would like to see Chicago get Harbaugh.
yeah.
I think he will, because I mean he did wonders with the quarterbacks that he had in the NFL, Alex Smith and then Colin Kaepernick, and so he did, and the guy had you made he may rub people the wrong way. He just might be just so arrogant, people just can't stand him.
Yeah.
Um, and but if I'm an
Well.
owner, I'm just going to tell the staff, you know what? As long as he wins, he's staying, and you're going to have to get over it. You're going
Yeah.
to have to, if you have to avoid talking to him, avoid being around him. But if he's going to come in and make my Bears and the
Yeah.
city of Chicago Bears a winner, you're going to have to get over it.
Yeah.
You're going to have to get by yourself. And
And
so,
then and then we'll have to sit back and make sure that the league schedules Seahawks versus Bears, so we get more Pete Carroll versus Harbaugh stuff
oh
going.
yeah, that was great. That was great television. That
Oh,
was great television.
absolutely. Yeah,
Yeah, it should
absolutely.
be. That should be. So but so far between us, we think that only five teams are actually going to change coaches this year,
Yeah.
which would be the smallest number that they've
Oh,
had in
really?
about 5 or 6 years. It's usually been seven and up have changed coaches. So there will probably be a surprise or two along the way. If Staley still has a job Tuesday or Wednesday, that's going to be a surprise for me. Because he has a great offensive coordinator and the defense is
Well,
really good, except for the fact that he just makes stupid decisions at the wrong time. And so I don't know. I'm kind of switching gears back to college. Lincoln Riley might be ready
oh,
to move on already.
yeah. No, I watched some of that last night, and apparently there were rumors Chip Kelly's going to get fired, and then the announcer said that's just a rumor. That's probably not going to happen. Lincoln Riley, on the other hand, could happen, or who knows? He's maybe got one more year left to see what they can do. But
Yeah, because, and I think I told you this before. His record right now isn't much better than the
no,
guy who he replaced at the same period of
yeah,
time.
no,
So they really have not gotten better. They've
no,
gotten they've gotten better quarterback play, but
yeah,
that's about it.
yeah.
But that's who Lincoln Riley is. I mean,
And their defense is atrocious. Yeah,
oh gosh. Well,
yeah.
Oklahoma's defense was atrocious, and I think that guy no, he didn't coach the defense at Oklahoma. That was the guy who's the head coach now, and I can't think of his name. Um, but he was the
Can't
defensive.
think of it either.
He was the defensive coordinator. I can't think of his name, but yeah, his defense is no better than Oklahoma's defense was when he was churning out all those Heisman winners, and yet they never won a national title.
Yeah,
And
true.
now Caleb Williams has won a Heisman, and he's doing commercials, and he's taken a step back this year, and so has Drake May. I'm not so sure I would want to spend the
No,
first or second pick in the draft on either one of them. I'm
I don't.
just not
Yeah,
so sure I would want to. I
I
mean,
don't see myself. And you and I talked about this the other day a little, but I don't see Caleb Williams of being having it and being the it guy. And they even mentioned Patrick Mahomes and his name yesterday. I don't see it. But then again, I thought Justin Herbert was awful at Oregon, and he's really good. So maybe I mean maybe that's why I work in golf and do writing and editing, and not.
and
That's why
and
I'm
and,
not a
and you
scout.
and you're not the general manager or the scout. Yeah. And
Yeah,
that's,
yeah,
that is possible. And the NFL has breathed a sigh of relief that you are not neither general manager or scout. And so
yes. So there's a
well,
very
I'm there with you because in at Oregon, although you know what, Herbert is kind of showing what he showed at Oregon when they had to play against really decent teams. He didn't exactly come out on top a lot, and the same thing is kind of happening in the NFL. Um, some NFL team is going to hire Lincoln Riley, and when they do, it's just going to be bad. I mean,
probably. Yeah.
because he's going to be who he is, and when he gets to the pros, okay, he'll have a quarterback maybe who might set a record for the number of yards he throws in a season or number of touchdowns, but it's not going to translate to a championship because he's
No.
never won one. And
Yeah.
so, it's like that old saying: if a guy tells you and shows you who he is,
Hmm.
believe him.
Yeah.
He's not.
True.
Believe him. Don't try
Yeah.
to make him into
Right.
somebody else that you want
Yeah.
him to be.
Yeah.
Believe him. That's who he is. You
I
know.
had just had a quick vision of Riley going to Tampa Bay to work with Baker.
Oh, that would be. He had Baker, didn't he?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah,
Didn't he?
that's right. He had Baker
Yeah.
at Oklahoma.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So, I mean, he
Yeah.
churns out the Heisman. He churns out the Heisman winners, but not a whole lot. Not a whole lot
No.
else. If you're looking
Oh
for a
man,
championship.
if you're a defender, are you going to USC under Lincoln Riley?
Oh my
No.
goodness, no.
Yeah.
Not
No.
if you're not if you're good at it. Not if
No.
you're good at it.
Yeah.
Nice transition. Our boy Jalen Ramsey came up with a great interception to seal the game
Well,
for Miami.
the,
At first, I thought he was
the,
guarding Devontae Adams, and I was like,
mm,
"Wait a minute." He stayed with Adams stride for stride, but it was Jacoby Myers. So
okay. Yeah, I was gonna say.
so
You mean
Jacoby,
the old the old slow guy came through? Yeah.
yeah, Jacoby, and he was in such great position. I mean, I that was hey, we make fun of Jalen Ramsey as far as guarding tight ends that he's a turnstile, but we are going to give him credit when it's due, and it's due. I mean, he's had I think he's had that was the second interception for the year.
Mm,
But both of them were excellent interceptions. Like he turned back the clock like 7 or 8 years. And that's
yeah.
what he was doing 7 or 8 years ago.
The important win for them too. So
Yeah. I think that was great. That puts them or they were already on top of the division, right?
Yeah, I think they're either 7-3 or 8-3 now.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay, okay, yeah, and Buffalo
I think so.
looks like Buffalo is gonna well. They're just in the
But
second quarter and it's
really,
16-6 Buffalo. So they could give it away. They still
both
have
those teams have 5 losses,
they
I think.
still have time to cough up about 3 or 4 interceptions in the second half. And your boys won today. That Steelers Browns game. So the Steelers have
Whew,
won all 6 of their games by less than a touchdown, I think.
I saw that. Yeah,
And the Browns have won 4 of their games on the very last play. So you had to know that was not going to be a
yeah.
blowout in either
Oh,
direction.
I tell you, for a while in that game, what I was bothered by. Oh man, between Pickett's and Dorian Thompson Robinson, it was bad football for a while. Nobody, all they were doing is throwing 3 yard, 5 yard routes. It was bad football. But I give DTR a lot of credit. That last drive, he was good. And people may not know it, but a huge pickup for the Browns is when they got Amari Cooper for
Oh yeah.
basically nothing
Oh yeah.
from Dallas because Cooper's a great receiver. Put it near his hands, he's going to catch it, and he did. So
Yeah. Yeah.
big win though. I thought that was a loss for sure, and I thought it was going to be a typical Browns loss.
Well,
So
I thought it was going to be a typical. I thought they were going to get Tomlin again.
yeah.
Because he just does that. And
I
so
don't know what the how I forget what they said during the game. Tomlin, I forget what the Steelers' record is. Their last 18 games, 13-5. But that's with some sort of a situation going on. Maybe it's that they. I think it might be that they were outgained in yards,
hmm,
and they're still 13-5 in their
yeah.
those 18 games. So they're doing something right,
Oh
and
yeah, yeah,
yeah,
yeah. They are most definitely doing something right,
yeah.
and we're gonna switch gears here just for a minute because we gotta talk about Alabama football,
Oh
and the college
man,
football, and
what?
Alabama beat up on Chattanooga. They should drop in the standings because they didn't score 100 points on Chattanooga.
Yeah,
They should have scored 100,
yeah.
and they should drop in the standings. But I mean, if they're eighth again, there's too many teams they have to go through, and
For now, they're going to play Georgia in the SEC White Championship game. I think what is that? East versus West winner.
right.
Uh, and if they win that game, people are going to be clamoring to have. Oh, here comes my guest. But they'll be they'll be clamoring for Bama to get in there.
Oh yeah.
So we'll see what happens. But
Yeah, the worst thing that could happen to the college playoff committee. What's up, Cat?
yeah,
The worst
boy, we got
thing,
a Lions fan here. Yeah.
yeah, the worst thing
So
that could happen
yeah, yeah.
is Alabama beating Georgia and Ohio State beating Michigan,
Uh,
and then either Florida State or Washington not winning out.
well,
Because
yeah.
then it'll be Georgia, Alabama. Um, who's the other one in the top four right now?
Uh, uh, Alabama,
Oh,
Michigan, Ohio.
Georgia, Alabama,
I mean, yeah, Georgia.
Ohio State would be in, and
Yeah.
then maybe Washington or Florida State would get in if
Now,
they both went out. I think one of them would get in. Uh,
Florida State has a problem, I think, because I believe they play Florida next week.
Yeah, and but now
And their quarterback is definitely out.
yeah, but now the
Yeah.
kid who came in for him, he's come in
Oh,
3 times and they've won all 3 games.
okay.
And so he plays well enough that he's able to
Right.
still keep the offense moving and
Okay.
stuff. So
That's
that
good for them. Yeah.
yeah, that's good for them. And if they don't win out, I hope Washington wins out, and
Yeah.
then they will be undefeated, and they will get in regardless of what happens.
Yeah.
Probably the college football committee probably wants Ohio State to win, and that
Yes.
will give them a reason to leave Michigan out
Yeah, that's true too.
after all the stuff
That
that's going
avoids the controversy.
that
Yeah.
avoids the controversy of Michigan having this and wind up winning the national. So it's kind of the same thing. The college football committee um, doesn't want Michigan to be in the playoffs. However, if they went out, they don't have a choice but to put them in there,
Right.
and which they've already said whatever Big Ten does and whatever the NCAA does is fine. But if they're eligible for a bowl game, then we got to consider them for it. And so,
Yeah.
and so they don't want to. They don't want to be the ones to make that decision. And so it's like, okay, um, it should
That's
be. Well, this weekend is usually all the big rivalry games this weekend, right?
yeah. And Bama is still at number 8. Nobody lost, right? Did Texas win?
I
Or no, Texas is behind them. I think.
No, Texas is in front of them because Texas beat them head to head.
Okay.
So they had Texas in front of them. Yeah, so I believe, let me see, I believe Texas won and Oregon won. Oh, yeah, Texas won, Oregon won. Let's see, Washington won, Florida State won. So all the teams that are in front of them all won. So there's really no, and they played Chattanooga. They really should not move
That,
up
that,
in the rankings after playing Chattanooga.
no, those cupcake games, you should not move up.
No,
And
you
you
should
know they need
actually
to.
lose ground.
Yeah, yeah. They need to. I know those games are money making
Oh
games,
yeah.
but and that's the only reason they exist. But get rid of them. Stop it.
Well, the school Chattanooga probably made $3 or $4 million playing them.
Yeah, yeah,
And it's money their athletic department can use
yeah,
because
yeah. True.
they're not going to make a lot of money
Yeah,
otherwise.
that's
Yeah, so I understand why they have them. Um, it kind of gives their players a bye week without actually having a bye week because they could
true.
probably beat Chattanooga with their third string.
Not a bad way to pad your stats either,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
They could probably beat Chattanooga with me or you at quarterback. So we just have they just have to do a lot of quick screens with us. We throw it like 4 yards behind the line of scrimmage and
yeah,
just let them go. And so so it's necessary for they shouldn't have 3 of those type games on their schedule. One is enough. One of those
yeah.
type games is enough.
Yeah,
Um,
I agree.
but they shouldn't have 3 of those type games on their
No, no.
schedule. So it's let's see. I think I have it right
Yeah,
here.
speaking of which, too, I think USC now their schedule next year will be against the Big Ten, right?
Well, yes. I don't know because
So Lincoln Riley is better really do some homework over the offseason
oh
because
gosh, they're gonna get blasted.
yeah, their schedule's going to get even harder,
Yeah.
basically. Yeah,
I don't know because most of the colleges have their schedules made up like 3 or 4 years in
hmm,
advance. And
true.
so I don't know if they are able to cancel certain things and then add certain things. A really good game next weekend will be Oregon and Oregon State.
Oh yeah.
That is going to be a
Oh,
really good
and
game.
speaking of which, so I'm not sure what Penix finished with last night.
He did
I
okay.
know it was raining like crazy, so
Yeah, he did
but
okay. Let me see if this.
our favorite father in the NCAA football,
Our favorite
Bo
grandfather.
Nix, is going is possibly going to win the Heisman even.
Oh yeah, he possibly
Yeah,
could. But now
yeah.
get this.
So
He might not be the oldest quarterback in the NCAA. Brock Purdy's brother, Chubba Purdy,
oh, I
played.
don't know that.
Yeah, he's good. He plays for Nebraska. He is in his fourth year of college, and he's a sophomore.
Hmm.
So
Well, I mean,
So I'm thinking he got I'm thinking he got
yeah, that's
redshirted
right.
one. I'm thinking he got redshirted 1 year, and then they gave a lot of
Maybe
players
COVID.
an
Yeah,
extra year because of COVID.
yeah,
So he's in his fourth year of college and a sophomore. I read that this morning. He had a
yeah,
great play against I forgot who Nebraska played
yeah.
yesterday, but real quick, Michael Penix was only 13 of 28 for 162 yards, but he had two touchdowns and
Yeah.
no picks.
It was raining very hard,
Oh
so
my goodness, it was hard.
yeah, it was raining hard.
It was
The good
tremendous.
Oregon rain. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah. So he did okay. So you got Oregon State next weekend, Ohio State and Michigan.
that's a good
Alabama
one.
and Auburn do their usual thing, but Auburn lost to I think a Division II team last night.
They might have lost to North Alabama or
No,
somebody in
North
Texas.
Alabama played Florida State.
Uh,
Okay, I got it right here. Let's see. Auburn.
yeah, Auburn lost to New Mexico State.
New Mexico. I knew it
Yeah,
was a state college.
yeah.
Yeah.
Which, as the announcer said, I heard in that one was, nope, that's not basketball, folks. This is football. Auburn lost to New Mexico State.
Yeah.
Who predicts that one? Yeah.
Yeah. So
So,
really there's only two games of any consequence next weekend.
yeah.
And that's Ohio State, Michigan, and Oregon State. So Texas is playing Texas Tech.
Uh,
They should win that. Um, and who else is in front of Alabama?
uh,
So I don't.
Washington.
It doesn't look like Florida State. It doesn't look like Washington is on the schedule for next weekend because they're going to the Pac-10 championship or Pac-12,
Okay.
whatever it is.
Right.
And it doesn't look like Florida State's on it either because they're going to the ACC championship.
ACC. Yeah.
Yeah, so they're not playing next weekend because of that. So
Hmm.
if Oregon wins, they'll stay in front of Alabama. And Ohio State or Michigan, whoever loses that,
Yeah.
if Michigan wins, Ohio State will probably stay in the top four, and maybe Florida State will drop out. I don't know.
Yeah, that's what they would probably lean to, I would think.
Yeah, it's hard to
Yeah.
say. It's hard to say
Yeah.
what the committee looks at.
Right.
I don't know really if the committee really knows what they're going to look at. So
They probably just look at dollar signs. It's
yeah,
probably
probably. And they probably are like, oh, okay, we need to get this 12-team playoff done next season
yeah.
so that this is not
Wait.
as difficult to pick who's
Yeah,
in.
true.
We just
Right.
got to seed them properly,
Yep.
but it's not a matter of who gets in. So
True.
and that brings them more money, so they'll be okay with it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
It
yeah.
should be a lot more big time.
So let me check real quick here. San Francisco had gone up 27-7. Let's see. Okay, they still got a chance to lose this.
What?
It's 27-14 now, and they
Fourth
just
quarter.
they just started the fourth quarter. So they
Hmm.
got well, I'm not going to watch it. I'm not going to be emotionally invested in it. It just ain't
It's
gonna
a two
happen.
touchdown lead. They'll be fine.
I am not going to be emotionally invested in it. It's just not going to happen. So it's just kind of, if they win, they need to win though, because Seattle is not backing off,
No.
and so they need
Now
to.
they play them twice in the next 3 weeks, I believe,
I think so. In the next
with the
3 weeks,
Eagles in between. So that's a tough little run.
right? Yeah,
Yeah.
yes.
Well,
So
actually, come to think of it, with that run is knock on wood. The biggest thing is to come out of that healthy. That's a tough 3 game stretch.
that is a tough
Yeah.
3 game stretch.
Yep.
The Eagles are the best team. I mean, they're the best team. They're the most unstoppable offense. Because
I think so. I,
when you
I, I think, well, we'll see on Monday night with them and the Chiefs. That's a good game. I,
I don't know
you
the
know me, I'm not a big Jalen Hurts guy, but the last few times I've watched him, I've become much more of a believer. He's good. He is good.
they are the most physical on both
Yes.
sides of the football.
Yeah. Yep.
Yet they can air it out when
Yeah.
they need to,
I,
and
I, I, bel- yeah. I
that
think,
is difficult.
yeah.
That is difficult to deal with.
The
So,
thing that they will try to do with the Niners, and they did it in the playoffs, is they're going to run. They'll try to
oh,
run the
sure,
ball.
sure,
Yeah.
sure, and so I don't know what Steve Wilkes's plan is going to be, but he better
I
come
don't.
up with a good one. Otherwise,
Yeah.
that's going to be over with
That's a
before it gets
big
started.
game. Yeah.
Yeah,
And the Lions still only have 2 losses right now, too.
right,
So, which
right.
I'm impressed. They came back today. The Bears were beating them up for a while. So,
The Bears look good today.
yeah.
That's why I think they need to hire Harbaugh, keep Justin Fields. He'll have a good offensive minded coach to get him through it. Draft Marvin Harrison Jr., because I think they'll have the first pick. Draft Marvin Harrison Jr.
True.
And then they'll have another pick in the top five. Get
I think
some
so.
get
Yeah.
some offensive line help,
Yeah. Get protection. Yeah.
and I think they'll fix everything if they just hire
Yeah.
Harbaugh. Please, please fire Eberflus as soon as the last game hits zeros. Please fire him. I want to see Chicago be good. I want to see him be good again.
It seems like it has been. I was thinking the thing is that the okay, so Favre and Rogers are gone.
Right,
So the Packers have dominated that division for about 20 years.
right.
There's now an opening, but not really, because the Lions are really good. But you can set yourself up now to definitely chase the Lions, and maybe Green Bay, Jordan Love, nah. and
Jordan, he
yeah,
has his moments. They
yeah,
just aren't enough, and they aren't close enough together. That's
yeah.
all. Yeah.
And the Vikings are kind of, Kirk Cousins is getting older. I don't know what's going to happen with them,
Right. Yeah.
as moving forward. So Justin Jefferson doesn't seem like he wants to play anymore for them. So who knows what's
All
going to
right.
happen?
So our MVP is playing tonight, Josh Dobbs. Now, as much as I like what he's doing right now, there is a reason that other teams have let him go.
Oh yeah,
And this is his fifth team. Uh,
yeah,
you know, there is a reason.
no,
So,
no.
I love what he's doing now. And and hopefully he wins again tonight.
Yeah,
Although, to be honest, this is the best team he's had around him. since
Oh
he's
yeah.
been in the league. Because
Yes.
Cleveland
Yeah.
didn't have those
No.
runners or wide receivers when he was there,
Defense. No, he didn't have the
or the
defense.
defense, or Pittsburgh didn't have that.
Yeah. Titans neither.
Arizona didn't have it.
Yeah, and Titans he was with too.
Yeah, yeah. So
Yeah.
maybe,
Yeah.
maybe this is the real
Yeah.
him. I mean, the same thing with
Yeah.
Geno Smith when he was with the Jets. They had no
Yeah.
one for him to throw to or
Yeah.
to run the ball. But now in
Yeah,
Seattle, he does. So
we'll
maybe
see.
that's the difference. We shall
I
see.
mean, my thing is, and I get to say pastor not because he was the intern at NASA. I like that
Yeah,
story.
yeah,
But the Browns fans kept after Watson went down. Oh gosh, why did you trade Dobbs?
yeah.
Well,
There was a reason.
Dobbs had a few games in October for the Cardinals where he was terrible.
Oh yeah,
And when the Cardinals this season say you're not that good,
yeah.
you're not good.
No,
So
no.
yeah,
When the
yeah, because
when the Cardinals bench you, dude, you
yeah,
have been benched.
yeah,
That is,
you're kind of done. Yeah.
yeah.
So,
That has been that.
but I
So,
hope I'll be rooting for him tonight. So
and I'll watch the game too. I'll be rooting for
yeah,
him too. So,
yep,
all right, buddy. Well, thank you much. We're back
yep,
on track, and
yep,
we're gonna call it a day. So, thank everyone who watches and for tuning
yep.
in with us. Okay, we got our traveling music.
The music's gonna
I
fade
hope.
out.
Yes, thank you. And this is Two Guys Catching Up on Football. We'll see you next week. Later.